Minnesota Vikings fans, welcome back to the Purple People Eaters podcast. He's Aaron, I'm Chris, and we're here to discuss what else? Some Minnesota Vikings football. Now, obviously, we're not coming off a Sunday game. Last Thursday was the last game, but it was a win, and especially this year. But just being a Vikings fan in general, a win is a win is a win, like the old saying says. And it's funny because a couple of weeks back we talked about how at some point we got all these tight games, right? At some point we're going to kick some team's ass, and at some point some team is going to kick the Vikings' ass. 2 weeks ago, down 20-6, had we been facing a very good team, probably would have got our ass kicked. Last week, up 29-0. I'll say it again, 29-0. Should have been an ass kicking, right? But that didn't happen. So who really knows what goes on? They're all going to be tight. Just assume they're going to be tight, and that's what we're working with. But anyway, we will discuss the Cookie Monster. Delvin Cook returns from injury. He's got a harness that he wore a couple years ago. And he just breaks out one of the best games he's ever had in a Vikings uniform, going over 200 yards rushing. It kind of felt like later in that game, why are we going away from it? Why are we going away from it? The Cousins to Jefferson connection wasn't quite connected. Just a couple of plays, 3-4 plays that could have put the game away even before they came back. But, the offensive line held up. Defense looked great for about 40 minutes. The whole team looked great for about 40 minutes, and then the Vikings showed up to play. The 2021 Vikings showed up and tried to make it interesting. At least the defense finally held in a last 2-minute game-winning or tying scenario. They went into the game 0 of 8 prior, so that's helpful. But anyway, we're going to break all this stuff down, do a little recap, talk a little stuff, preview the Chicago game at Chicago. It's not Sunday, it's Monday. I kind of forgot about that. Another primetime game. And then, if you've listened to the show long enough, you know that we do a Gophers football segment to close, and there is some good news on that front, whether it's, returning coaches, extending coaches, returning players, little recruiting. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But if this is your first time listening to the Purple People Eaters podcast, welcome. It's available in a variety of ways. It streams live on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. But you don't have to go to Blog Talk and Rope-A-Dope and download the show directly there. Listen to the browser. You can find the platform Rope-A-Dope Radio on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, TuneIn, and a whole lot of other places as well. We're also part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network. While you're at it, why don't you head on over to thegruelingtruth.com. And we also have a page on Spreaker, Living in Loserville. On Spreaker, Aaron opened that page well over a year ago. Of course, it's the same show in January, or maybe we should say February, because, the Vikings are going to get to the playoffs, right? Right. Anyway, we go in the Gophers, basketball, Timberwolves, all that good stuff. Aaron also has some other podcasts on there that you may enjoy. That's Living in Loserville at Spreaker. And one more thing before we get into the almost debacle. If you're thinking about cutting the cord or you're not quite happy, I got something for you. It's called DirecTV Stream. The prices start as low as $69.99 a month. It's the best of live TV and on demand. No annual contracts, no hidden fees. If you upgrade to the Choice or Ultimate package, that'll give you 3 free months of HBO Max. Plus, you get to enjoy regional sports networks with no additional fees, which we're seeing more and more of. And if you go to the Premier package, that'll give you HBO Max and Showtime included. DirecTV Stream. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, Aaron, and seeing how he's doing. This is like a perfect 3 or 4 day run for Minnesota in December or any time, really. We have this big snowfall. Now the temperature's going back up. By Wednesday, it might hit 50, but then rain and bring 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe snow at the end of the night. So here we are. It's December. It's Minnesota. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's December. It's Minnesota, like you said. It's just one thing after the other. We got a big snowstorm. What was that? Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it was. Dumped a bunch on us, and then it was nice the next day and melted away, and then we got a little bit more. So that's just the way it's going. But you were right about the 40 minutes of the who are these Vikings, and then we, ultimately return to, we know these guys.
Oh, that's right. These are the Vikings. Yeah, man, that was it was interesting. I mean, that offensive line and Cook, for quite some time was just churning out the yards. Right away, actually, the combination, we went to Jefferson like right away, back to back throws, and I think Cook had a nice little chunk run for 20 yards. And we this is the first of the almost Jefferson and Cousins connection that was just a little off. It was in double team. It was in the end zone. And it was similar to the play last year where Jefferson had the two guys beat and Cousins just put it right over the shoulder just in the nick of time. This one was a little bit more difficult because the safety still was kind of in front to the right, I think the right of Jefferson. But it was just one of those things where it's just off a millimeter, and that would have been a touchdown. It was a 4th and 3, and they decided to go for the field goal. And it was wide left, strong wide left, I may add. And, Joseph had made, knock on wood, he had made 11 straight field goals on the low. Now, extra points, that's different. But I thought, he made 11 straight field goals. I guess I didn't realize that. But, of course, he had to miss that one. And it looked funky at the start on defense, too. We gave up a 3rd and 19. Well, actually, they got it to like 4th and 4 or something, and Big Ben on a keeper got it. But we were able to, apply enough pressure to make the Steelers kick like a 44-yarder or something like that. And they missed. And that was 20 straight makes previously for their kickers. So I was like, okay, wait a second. Maybe things can, go really good here. And then Cook busts off this 30-yard run. Jefferson got a touchdown, 5 plays, somewhat, it's like a crossing route, somewhat quick strike. It's 6-0, and we miss really bad, even worse. We missed an extra point. I was like, okay, wow. Steelers had that near fumble. So they had to punt, and DD had that nice return, put us in range. JJ coming out really strong, another break, probably 20 some odd run from Cook. And here's another connection where this would have been a touchdown because he was crossing into the end zone, Jefferson. Cousins got hit right before it. He kind of had to just get rid of it, and it was a little in front. So they had to settle for 9-0. Watts got a sack. Like, a lot. First down runs, Cook was just churning them. I mean, things were looking good. It was 16-0 after a 12-play drive that lasted over 5 minutes. Then it was a 3-and-out. Then Harry got a sack. I mean, there was a run there where defensively, after it was 6-zip, 3-and-out, 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 5-and-out to start the second half, 3-and-out, then a 3-and-out with a pick. So it was like, wow, we're getting pressure from a variety. Kendrick's got his, I think, 5th or 6th sack. I think that's the most sacks he's had in 1 year, I believe. Watts got a sack. Like, Watts did the little Griff dance too after his sack. So things were looking up, dude. And we're just piling on the points, and it's 23-0 at half. And at half, these numbers are just mind-boggling. You had an advantage of basically 23-0 at half, 167, Aaron, to 29 rushing. 124 through the air for 14. Had a lot of penalties, but it really didn't matter. It was just a 15-4 on first downs. just a dominant force through the first half.
Yeah, it was. And, you didn't give up the obligatory touchdown in the last 2 minutes. Just a lot of firsts, man. Cook was just running like crazy. The line seemed to gel to some degree. And, I was really a bit skeptical because, I was thinking they'd have TJ Watt. That's the Steelers. And he was on the sideline. So it wasn't like they were dealing with the best pass rush, but still they don't have to have great pass rushers against this line. Just somebody who can push the middle. And they were just getting the job done. Jefferson was catching balls and, things seemed to be working in the right direction. They weren't giving up points, like you said, a ton of 3-and-outs and stopping the run. And it's what you wanted to see all year, basically, in that half. And it kind of came together, and you're just like, well, okay, where's this been? And, maybe the Steelers are a bit depleted, but, we'll take it.
Yeah, and, they had what were there, 6-1 or 6-5-1 going in. So they had a winning record. So, we'll take it. But 153 yards in the first half. That was the previous record was held by Adrian Peterson. So Cook did, that. In fact, at half, most in a half in the NFL, just in general, 17 rushes, $167, something like that, and 2 Cook, which I just couldn't believe it, dude. And here's that Harrison Smith after that sack. This is PR from the Vikings. He upped his career sacks to 16.5 and ties his single-season career high of 3 since 2012. Smith ranks second in the NFL in defensive back sacks. And then Watts got his 6th sack of the season. And since week 6, he's tied for 4th with the primary defensive interior lineman. So Watts, man, we saw him come on last year a little bit, and he really developed. But to have Pierce and Tomlinson back, just to get Thomas was only out for like a week, but to have Pierce back, he hasn't played since Cleveland or something like that. To get Pierce, Tomlinson, Kendricks, and Barr all back, it did make me feel a little bit more comfortable heading in. And we'll get to the preview and everything like that, but it's hard to gel on defense, Aaron, when we've just missed so many damn guys. And like I said, to get those 4 guys back, I did kind of feel better about it, especially for the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, and then, get Peterson back as well. That helped a lot. A little more rotation in the corners. And, Kendricks and Barr is always – to have those two together – helps out a lot. And then, like you said, with Pierce and Tomlinson, having them together. Now, maybe that's another re-gel, so to speak, that has to happen here is you get these bodies back, and now you have to kind of get them playing together again and, getting continuity going on defense again. A little late in the season to be trying to developing that. But like you said, the injury bug has hit us pretty hard. If it's not this, it's something else. And it's, it's just been kind of like that all year. And it'd be nice that, coming down the stretch here where you need to find some wins and get some confidence going on defense, it'd be nice if those guys could, come together and play up to kind of where they were before everybody started going down. I know that we won't get Hunter back. That's a problem. But, we've got some defensive ends here. I think, Jones played well. Wilkes is getting better. At least he's not giving up a lot. So I think you have some potential defensively. You just got to keep guys healthy, really. I mean, that's it. And get guys on the same page. And I think, that'll shore it up a little bit enough because offense seems to be able to score some points here.
Yeah, you're right. And both those guys you mentioned made really good plays in the run on the edge, stopping a run. Jones really showed his athleticism in that, but both of them were making plays. That's a good call. And, trouble started leaking in, very minorly in the first. And it came in the form of not finishing drives. There was actually another 3-and-out, like I mentioned. Then a failed Jefferson screen. It just kind of Cook almost freaking broke a long run in that one. But it just at first, okay, you get the ball back off a 3 and out, and you do at least get points. It's 26-0. Okay, cool. Then Breland had a great INT because he can only make great INTs, as we know. But then, once again, Cook almost brought like shoelace, shoestring type of tackle from somebody. But you could kind of see the pressure was kicking in now from Pittsburgh on defense. But this was a key part. Now, you could say Osborne, I think it was on a third down to Osborne, they missed a call there or whatever. But I think missing Thielen in the red zone started to be pretty evident. Hopefully we get him back. He's still got a week to heal, if you think about it, till next Monday. But it's 29-0, and it is 2 field goals. But when you got a short field, just one touchdown instead of a field goal might have done the trick. You're looking at 33-0 at that point. And the way the game worked out, it ended up kind of like in a weird way faltering that you didn't get one of those touchdowns. And then they started to, you got to pick in a short field, like I mentioned. Then they started to kind of put some drives together. And they had a 10-play drive, 75 yards, 4-minute, and then there was a pick. And just kind of the defense is to blame some of this in the second half. We had 2 turnovers, so we did give them a short field on both of them, I think. And so that plays into it too. We can't just get down on the defense that much, but when they score 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes, and you're looking at like a 29-20 scenario, you're thinking, oh boy, here we frickin' go again, man. But the Cousins, let's just talk about both the picks. Cousins to Jefferson. It was a difficult throw because it had to be in there tight, and I think it was either the linebacker or the corner tipped it. So a lot of people were saying, well, Jefferson got 2 hands on it. That is true, but it made it a lot more difficult of a catch when it tips a millisecond before you're about to catch it. And that's what I mean on these connections. It was just barely short. So some people were like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. I don't know, dude. The dude tipped it. It went in the air. It is what it is. But they did score right away. 29-14. Then we had a 3 and out ourselves. And then it's 29-20, like I mentioned. And at that point, oh boy, I'm like, okay, dude, we're right here now. You know what I mean? This is going to be tough, but I did like how right in that scenario, to come back and at that frame to come back in a quick strike, 62-yard throw to Osborne. And, there was also right after that a 3 and out. So here we are, Aaron, 36-20, like probably 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. And you're thinking, we got the ball even. We just scored a touchdown. We got the ball. The game's over. We got this now. That wasn't the case, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think the game's over. You kind of just squelched their little comeback drive with that great catch by Osborne. And no flags on that, which was, I thought, a little surprising. I thought one would be thrown one way or the other, but
Right.
you didn't get any flags, and it was just a nice, clean go ahead. So then you basically think you're going to eat the clock, right? I mean, that's it. You kind of put it back to what, 2.5 scores. Like you can probably sit on that as long as you can run the football, and Cook had proven to you earlier in the game that he was able to do that. And, it just wasn't meant to be that way because things started going a little bit more downhill. Now, did the Vikings, give up? I don't know about that. I just think, momentum was shifting and things were happening, and, Breland felt like giving up some stuff. And that's kind of what happens. And Freiermuth gets in the end zone, just jukes our boy Breland out to the corner of the end zone and just had him spinning. Yep. And, next thing you know, they get another touchdown. Now you're back to a 9-point game. The Steelers are full of life, and, it's like, okay, well, now we got to hold on here till the end. And, I mean, we really just held on to the very end.
Yeah, dude, like, I don't know if it's 3 minutes left of the third or whatever, but the Vikings had held them to under 40 yards rushing, and I remember it was 12 of 17 for 100 yards passing, and you're like, wow, what a great performance! This is phenomenal. And then it got a little shifty, and I remember there was a scramble, I believe, on a third down, like an 11-yard scramble that got a first down. I think it was Cousins that scrambled. It was like, and that was like another first down. Okay, here we are, 3rd and 4, and there's a screen pass, and there's a lot of trust involved. And Osborne, he even said it like, I just didn't get the inside where I need to be. There was a little bit of a stumble. He didn't necessarily win right away, but next thing you know, it's a pick. So we're up. Feeling comfortable. Well, you don't ever feel totally comfortable this season, but we're up. It's a pick and a return. So it wasn't just a pick. It was a long-ass return. They cashed it in, like you said. And then I think we had like a nice pickup on 3rd and 8, but we just weren't able to get another first down. And there was probably a play there that we got maybe a little too conservative. And like you said, we probably should have, even that last drive, probably should have been running the ball, maybe trying to go for a field goal and just burn clock, but we didn't. And next thing you know, it's a long, here we go again, 12-play drive, 84 yards, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And we know, like you said, how the defense does in these scenarios so far. They were 0 for 8 heading in. And what was going through your mind? Were you just like, all right, dude, it's overtime. I'm just going to put it in my head, it's overtime.
I think it was, we were up 8, so it would have been, they would have needed a 2-point conversion.
Right.
But, you got to feel if they get all the way down the field 84 yards, that it's almost like a done deal that they'll get the 2-point conversion. And, there gets to a point where you just see this defense give up, the entire length of the field in under 3 minutes throughout the season so many times, whether it's the end of the half or the end of the game, that you're just like, I don't know what the calls are. Are we back in prevent? Are we not rushing? What's going on here? But it just seems to happen constantly. And so at this point, I'm thinking 84 yards, 2 minutes, that's nothing. They can do that. And that's exactly what they did. They just kind of short passing and screen passes to the Alabama kid Harris, and they just kind of matriculated their way down the field and ended up, what was it, 3 seconds left or something like that? Yeah, it was 3 seconds, and I think they were probably at the 6 or 7 yard line, and great pass by Roethlisberger. Just Harry got in there just at the last second and knocked that ball out. Otherwise, you're looking at a touchdown there. I mean, that was a great pass by Roethlisberger. Freiermuth had it in his hands. He was just trying to tuck it away. And, Harrison Smith said, no, not today. And, even Barr was surprised. He thought they gave it up in the end zone. Everybody thought they gave it up. And just luckily the ball hit the ground. And, that's the thing with it. It's like, last year we talked a little bit, Chris, about, Russell Wilson kind of ate us up at the end of the game, but can't remember a season or even a team that would just consistently give up these long drives, especially when it's, pressure time and you're at home and the crowd's definitely going, and they just keep giving it up. And I'm just wondering if there's something that, that some tell or some giveaway that other teams have figured out that we just haven't figured it out, because they just continue to do it time and time again. There's got to be something there.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, injuries have hurt the defense, but you're right, because it was happening early when we were full strength. I mean, Hunter looked to be right back where he was 2 years ago. A couple of games in, it was like, that's the Hunter. Yeah, okay. And Pierce is pushing back, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and it's funny because going into this last week, you're first in sacks. You're like fourth in pressures. So you're definitely, we've talked about this. This defense is better than it was last year because we actually get pressure still. But then you're 32nd going in on rushing yards allowed per game. Total yards, 30th. and rushing TDs, which is always a sign of like, oh, they're going to beat you down now. They're 30th going in. So like we were talking about last week, it does suck. If this is Zimmer's last year, it does suck that these last 2 years he hasn't gotten a full – you're going to have injuries, but he hasn't gotten a full shot to prove that he's still a good defensive coach. You can see it. The third down is getting better now. He's had to make shift. We got more depth this year on the defensive end. I think that on the defensive line, that's why I think they're a little bit better. But yeah, overall, I don't know what it is beyond the injuries. It's just, but yeah, now they're 1 of 9, so they were 0 for 8 in that scenario, and it's really frustrating. On the flip side, we have about 7 drives that either game tying or game winning, 7 or 8 too. So it's like, damn, our offense is doing it, but our defense isn't. But going back to Cookie Monster, 222 overall. Peterson, of course, that 2007 game. We're talking about yards from scrimmage, 315. Foreman, 265, 1976. Anthony Carter, of course, AC in San Francisco on the road, 257 in 1987. Our guy Darren Nelson, 256, 83, but 252 and 226 last year from Cookie, but 222 overall. So he's got 3 of the top 10 most yards from scrimmage. And then our guy, sure, he didn't go for $180, but now when you start to look at Jefferson here, in the first 2 seasons, okay, Super Bowl era, Beckham had 2,755. Our guy Randy had 2,726 and 2,688. Rice is right, like maybe 70 yards behind Jefferson through 2 seasons. And, as we know, this season's not over, right? So he's now, 68 yards? 68 yards from having the most yards through your first 2 years in the league. And when you look at just receptions, there's a stat that came out since he entered the league. 68 receptions, gaining 15-plus yards. No other wide receiver has more than 56, and he has 68. Third down, we went over those stats last week. I mean, it's just a joy. This trade couldn't have worked better. And, it's coming from a podcast that both of us like Diggs. So this isn't coming on some, look at we got. It's not anything like that. But, yeah, man, it was just nice to see, like you said, the ball drop down to the end zone. Any other items that you'd like to discuss when it comes to this Vikings-like random win that we ended up getting? It should have been a blowout, sir.
No, I mean, it's just one of those things where we look back at the game and you're like, well, I don't think anybody believed that 29-0 was a safe lead, and that's sort of the problem with this season. And that's not to like dig on the defense. That's just saying the way the season has gone, that something's going to happen, something's going to give it up. And it's just not, I mean, even the kicker had a great game the game before, and Joseph, missed what would essentially be a very long field goal, but these extra points that start killing you after a while. I mean, I think the game before we were chasing a missed field goal most of the game. So, those are the things that just kind of stick out, just like, well, and now we've got our friend Akeem Hicks coming along. And what he can do to this team. I mean, we're going to put Bradbury out there again. I mean, what have we learned throughout the year, with Bradbury? And, I don't know if Darrisaw is going to be back. Like you said, there's a good hope since we've got this long break, and you can kind of re-put your line back to what it was and put Cole in there in the middle. But, it's still Hicks, man. It's still this Bears defense. And this is kind of our litmus test, Kristen, on this podcast. Is like, how are we going to deal with this line? And this line eats us up every year, and I think there'll be more of the same. But the change in, with Darrisaw, with Cole, I think you have a chance to be a little bit more stout against them.
Yeah, and I forgot that I got a message last week, or maybe, I think it was when I was reading those Jefferson stats. That's why I kind of, talked it back. But, I mean, here are the facts, okay? Since 2020, that's when Justin Jefferson got in the league. And we're looking at 25-yard reception. He has 27 of them You put Diggs and Thielen combined, they have 25. I'm just reading out factual stuff. We loved Diggs, clearly. I mean, yes. In this offense, like you said, this offense, we talked about it. We documented it basically since last year. It's just week 9 or some shit like that after the bye. They've put up 19 times they've gone over 27 points or more in that time frame. I think from week 9 was the stat last year. Only the Tampa Bay Bucks have done that. And we've tied it. Both have had 19 different times they put up 27 points. So definitely the offense has been, we had those bumpy weeks or whatever, but we'll see, like you said, with Chicago. And these tight games, here's another one, dude, these tight damn games. 8, we maneuvered it to 8 now because, this 8-point win that they got. But the NFL record for most games in a season decided by 8 or fewer points is 14 games. That's the 94 Giants and the 2015 Ravens. We have 12. The 14 is the record. The Vikings record, and I kind of forgot how tight the games were back then, is actually 13. And that was back in 1999 between the conference finals when we got eventually ran off the field by the Rams. They went and won the Super Bowl. But going into this year, Vikings games coming up. Now, oh boy, that we hate. You just mentioned his name. I almost don't like it's like haunting just to mention his name. Now here's the kicker. He's been hurt. He played a couple games, got hurt, came back, looked strong. Then he's messed up his ankle pretty good, and he's been out for a while. He didn't play last night in Green Bay, but here we go. We got a week now. So you know what that means. He's coming back. He'll be on the field. Good old D tackle. We don't have to worry about the linebacker this year because he ain't coming back. But and like I said, I don't want to say their names because I don't know if I'll sleep tonight. But yeah, heading into this, last year we actually finally got off the schneid and beat Chicago at Chicago, and we did it mostly passing because remember in the fourth quarter once oh boy left the field, what was it like 60 some odd yards that Cook got in that time frame. So yeah, that's a big deal. Now heading into this game, the Las Vegas has us a 3.5 point favorite on the road. Over under is set at 44. No surprise there. Clearly the biggest issue, they can run the ball, Chicago, with the running back and obviously with the quarterback, but they do. I mean, they're just shy of 18 points. So their offense has been struggling majorly. And of late, defense, it's basically 25.6 the Vikes give up. The Bears give up 25.5. So they haven't been playing Bears defense per se. But like you said, it doesn't take much to flip that. Neither team, we give up almost 130 on the ground. They give up 120. So it's a pretty equally matched game like it always is. Chicago, kind of like us, they got off to this big lead last night, ended up losing 45-30. But looking at the game time weather, it's going to be a night game. Game time weather, 28 degrees at night. So who knows? Maybe the wind will pick up. What's your gut telling you about this game here? I don't know. It's always been, like you said, the Chicago measuring stick. Sure, their defense isn't what it is, but as you said, even this last week with the Steelers, you don't need this all-star, defense and all these all-star players to find a way to, get a tackle for loss or get pressure on our quarterback.
Well, my gut says the Bears stink, but unfortunately, they stink in areas that really don't concern me all that much. They're good on the defensive line, and they're good at quarterback, particularly for what seems to hurt us, and that's running quarterbacks. Now, last year they had Trubisky, and we had our problems with him. Now, times his running ability by 10 and throw in Justin Fields and still able to throw. it's one of those things where you go, well, if we can just do this, then, we can stop Fields. We stop the run. Yeah. Okay. That's great. But then depends on what you have to do to stop the run. And, Fields can throw the ball. Don't get me wrong now. He did that a lot in college. Nagy's crafty enough to devise a plan to get him in space and do some other things that just seem to drive us crazy. Now, I think we win this game. I don't know why. I think it's because I think overall our starters are better and somehow that'll even itself out. But, they've got a couple decent tight ends there. They're able to run the football. If they can run the football and eat the clock on us, I mean, they can definitely be in this game and probably win it. So I don't want to get too haughty about it, but I just think, Cousins, Jefferson, hopefully get Thielen back. That seemed to
That's a must, man.
Yeah, that sort of balanced the scales out a little bit in our favor last year, and I think it'll do it again. But, that's 50-50 for me. I think it could go the other way as well, where we just can't run the football and we can't stop their run, and that's always a recipe for disaster. But I'll go Vikings by 3 or 6, but if you're going to pin me down, I'd say probably by 6. And it'll be a tough game, a lot of running. I think the wind will pick up. It will be cold. And, just kind of one of those games where it's a grind out thing. And it's something like 14-3, 14-6, 14-7, 14-8, something like that. Just a low scoring, grind out, cold weather game is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. I'm actually looking at the injury report. It's on. Yeah, Fields he's got a bruised hand, but it is his non-throwing hand. So I mean that he'll probably play. Yeah, he'll probably play. I'd assume. And I have it a little funky score as well. One thing this year, the trends have been really funny. Like I seriously, they really have. Like the win two, lose two stuff. Has been really weird. And, I should have known last week. I actually mentioned it, the win two, lose two thing last week. And I should have known they were going to bounce back and not pick against them. But, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? So I am actually picking them. My score is 20, kind of funky, 21-18 or 23-18. That's what the score, my score is. But who knows? Like I said, I do think it'll be a close-ass game. I think you hit that right on, and there's just no way that the monstrous D-tackle is not going to play. He's been out for a while. He's got a full week. He didn't play this week. He's like, oh, Minnesota? Bradbury? Oh, yeah, I'm playing this week. I don't even need to be full strength, so that is going to be funky, but the fact that we do bring in kind of a college look beyond goal line stuff, that sixth offensive line, without Irv Smith, I think that's a good call. He got on the field 17 times, I think it was, 12 times. So we're going to need more of that. I think that, it is going to be a grinded out game. I remember the third downs last year was just crazy, like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. That was such a key to the game, was those third down conversions, and it probably will. So I got 23-18, and they keep that 2-2, get back to 500 type stuff once again. And the playoff picture is still lingering, but just like it has been all year, it's really just us. It's the Vikes. That you got to worry about. The big number now is, with there's 4 games left, is 3-1. 3-1, 9-8, you're in. You're going to be in at that point. And next week they got a really tough game, or the week after, I should say, not next week, the Rams. And they're right on the cusp of, they started out really well, kind of look funky lately. They actually got a game going on right now. I'm going to check out the second half, but these are the games that you got to win. We're favored on the road. Just get it done, Aaron. You know what I mean? We got to get it done, and then we'll take it week by week after.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. This is it. This is coming down the stretch of the season. And this is what you got to do. And I think you got a good chance if you can find a way to consistently get Cook going. That's what you're going to need this time of year is just get him, his carries and make them effective. And then everything can kind of feed off of that. And that's been a problem this year just with the line and with everything else. And, that's a trench war coming up and we haven't done well in it. Either, Chicago here or Chicago there. That's the trench war of the season usually. And, it'd be nice if we come out on the top of that and actually, get a win out of it again. And, that will help us cement a place in the division. But I just don't, it all depends on which line we suit up, Chris. If you go Darisaw, Cleveland, Cole, probably Udo and O'Neal, that's a line I like. But if you're still going Udo, Cleveland, Bradbury, Cole, and then O'Neal, I just don't like that line all that much. And mostly that's just because Bradbury's in there. And, if you put him in there, he's right on his nose is going to be Akeem Hicks, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he's going to be in Cousins' lap all day. So it's going to be screen passes and so on. And it's just like, Cook will get stopped in the backfield and this line will be, they won't talk back to Hicks and he'll just rule again. And then you got to use Thielen and Jefferson to try to win the game like we did last year. And, it's just, that's the way it is. So you got to be able to get Cook going. This line's got to be able to move some people. If they can do that, I like their chances here. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, but the way the season's going, it could end up being a 35-32 game at this point. I mean, you just don't know.
True.
The way I see it is a grind out game, cold game. 17 points will be the high score there. And you just kind of want to grind it out, eat the clock on both sides. And, I think we can stop their run fairly well, but damn well they can stop ours. Just a couple of players inside can do that. So let's hope we get a handle on that.
Yeah, and special teams is something to look at because last night, like our guy, we got the rookies got two different kickoff returns. Well, there was a kickoff return last night. So that's something, not just when I say special teams, you automatically go field goal. Of course, that's just kind of there, right? But we got to watch out on both sides of this. And like I said, D.D. Westbrook, I mentioned him. His punt returns have been pretty damn key. And it's going off that line, Darisaw on the left, I would be okay as long as we just keep Cole in the game. I'd rather have Bradbury Cole than Bradbury Udo. Or, Cole Udo, I don't know. To be honest with you, I'd probably go Bradbury and Cole. I would like to see Udo out of there. But I know what you're saying in general. Just having Darisaw and Cole on the line has clearly made a difference. We've seen it firsthand. And, that's our best bet in this, part of the year. But it is what it is, and hopefully we get those guys back, man. If we could get Darisaw and Thielen back, that would be a big, big boost. And the way it is, I mean, the time frame, maybe Thielen won't be 100%, but even a decoy and even being able to run a route in the red zone would really help us as a decoy, whatever. So we'll see how that goes. On to some Gopher news. I think we talked about it last week that we brought the old coordinator back. We now have the full Italiano offense and defensive coordinator, I should say. So that's nice. Rossi did pick up an extension for 3 or 4 years. I think it's 2024, and that's a well-deserved extension, no doubt about it. I love that. And Tanner's got to be feeling pretty good having the coach back who really helped him a lot and helped develop him. And clearly now we have another, Autumn Bell back too as well. And now we got the damn center back too who has 7 names. Michael Schmitz, which I was thinking, man, I mean, right now we have a guard that's lingering in Blake. Andries or whatever, Andries, that's the one that we don't know about. He hasn't said he's going pro, but we don't know about that one. We know how our guards tend to fall in the draft, looking at it selfishly, of course. So who knows? Maybe if it says, well, anywhere from round 3 to 6, maybe he'll come back. But a lot of good news as far as returning players, Aaron, and also some recruiting news as well.
Yeah, I mean, you like the fact that you get possibly 2 linemen back, but for sure 1. And then, Amin Bell was a surprise to me. I thought for sure he was going to come out. And then, Tanner, a lot of people sick of him at this point, but, that'll be another year for him. So you'll have a little stability at quarterback. Shiraka being back, like you said, will help out a little bit. Maybe balance the offense a little bit more is probably the key there. And then, defensively, you pretty much got almost everybody back. We're pretty young defensively, but I think you lose the Clemson kid and somebody else, but they rotated out so well. Yeah, we do that too. But we rotate out so much that it's just kind of nice to see that rotation going and younger players getting in there and kind of just keeps things consistent defensively. And recruiting wise, I mean, I saw a little bit today, a lot of names, and I can't pretend like I've, done any research on any of them, but just knowing the positions more, there's a lot of defensive ends there. There was a corner that transferred in from the same place we got the linebacker from. Abilene Christian, I think, is where he came from. And then, so you need a little help at the corner because you lose Durr, and you're going to have Wally there probably for the next few years. So it'd be nice to have that, but it's just kind of good to see like the cupboard get full again. And you don't, like we talked a little bit off air, you're not going to see the way this program's building, you won't see unless there's a Wally in there or just a kid that shines. You won't see some of these kids that are coming in for a while, but it's nice to know they're there. And then, they'll emerge like we'll see next year, guys that we didn't know who they were, and they just keep coming in and making plays. And I guess that's kind of how college football programs, I should say successful college football programs work. But, we're so used to it here that you just see the freshmen because you got nobody in front of them that's as talented. And, Fleck says you've got to out-recruit yourself. And I think he's done pretty decently doing that. But he also has the thing where it's got to be a fit, And
True.
I think that kind of maybe holds him back a little bit in recruiting, but also in the long run probably helps the program over time.
Yeah, I mean, beyond Brewster, he's been, and that was just 1 year of recruiting that he got that top 25 class, but he's been our best recruiter hands down, since they ever even keep track of this stuff. So he's definitely done a hell of a job. So with that out of Bell News, Tanner Morgan has his top 5 pass catchers back. And that Hayden Schwartz, right? The coaches can't talk about him until Wednesday, but we can talk about him. 6'4" defensive end from Florida, and Michigan, Penn State, and Miami were after this kid. So, got a O tackle as well. You're right, though. I think maybe that transfer, Ryan Stapp, he might play. But other than that, a lot of these guys, I think Mississippi State, Nebraska, Washington State, some other folks are trying to get him as well. But I think you're right there. So basically, just looking at that line, that Alex Rushmeyer, who actually came up strong this year, he's back already. We knew that. Michael Schmitz. And then Carter Shaw, who also played off the bench and played in those big lineups. And he's from Utah State. He still has 2 years eligibility. So he's like already a starter in a group of 5, not Power 5. And that's why he came here, because he wanted to play in a Power 5, the Big Ten. So Carter Shaw has a lot of playing time underneath his belt in college football and looked pretty good, coming in. So 3 out of the 6 that would be, playing a lot are guys that have experience. And man, if they could somehow bring back that other one, that Blake, that would be big. But either way, it's nice not to just drop our, 5 starters or 4 out of 5 starters. So things are looking up, no doubt about it. And, D-tackle will be something that they're going to probably at least sign one transfer, I assume. There was this guy from Duke who's a sophomore coming out that they offered. Can't remember the other guy they offered, but look for a D-tackle if not 2, just for depth and whatnot. Any final words, sir, before we shut this podcast down?
No, it'll be nice to see Chicago finally this season. I mean, it's been, week 13 or something like that? I mean, we haven't seen them at all,
true.
so we hadn't get to do our obligatory Chicago check, to see the state of the team. We usually get a good mid-season one to see what's going on. But, we'll see how we stack up this year. It's just one of those things that, it should be an easy win, but it never is.
Never easy at all. It's still a tough game that came down to it last year. And if they go ahead and win this one, then the next one's at home. And I was going to say week 17, but that'd be week 18. And we know that they tend to rest players on that last, if you've got nothing to play for. So we'll see how it goes. It was a good little stretch here for Minnesota. In general, we got the Vikes getting the win, ugly, but got the win. The Minnesota Gopher basketball, which, once the Vikings over, we go to Timberwolves and Gopher basketball, the living in Loserville. So make sure you stay with us on that. But they got a big win at Michigan. It's been since 2011 since that happened. And then last night, back to our full strength starting lineup that we figured out because D'Lo came back and we got Pat back now. They got a nice win at Portland. That hasn't been since 2014. Every time the Wolves win on the road, it's like, okay, so when was the last time that happened? So we got some good vibes going on. Knock on wood. We'll be back. We're still going to try to figure out what we're going to do that night because it is a Monday night game. So we'll be back next week, though. Enjoy your week. Go Vikes. Peace.